What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the Flyin Style podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my co-host, Steven Maslij.
What's up, Matthew?
Everything is good this week as we're coming back for another big episode. Eagles keep advancing, keep doing their thing as they beat the Rams 28-22 this past Sunday. It was an exhilarating one. It was snowy. It was football incarnate. It was everything. It was physical. It was tough. What did you think about the game?
It was amazing, immaculate. It came down a little. I was very nervous at the end with Stafford going down to the 20. However, we pulled it off. We're going to get into every little bit of it. I'm just glad to get out of that game and go to NFC Chip and have another home game under our belts, dude. How crazy is that? That was very unexpected.
Yes, it was.
But we'll get into that too. You kind of called it, low-key.
Hey man, I told you it was. I can't say I expected the Commanders to win that game, but I knew they were going to keep it close at the very least. And man, I might have said otherwise talking to you, but this Commanders team is no joke. They're definitely, they're playing with a lot of fire right now, and they are probably the hottest team in the NFL at this very moment, which is a scary thought. Momentum can be really big sometimes, and they've got it right now. To be fair, I think it's the only thing that they've got over us, but it means a lot. And they're playing hot, they're playing well, and they're playing together. And they have a special feel to the way the team has been playing this year and the way they've been rallying around Jayden Daniels and the new coach and, the new ownership, which we'll get into that as well. As Philadelphia fans, that's an interesting talking point, which usually wouldn't be discussed by fans, but it matters in this situation, which we'll get into. So,
you know who else is hot?
Who's that?
Saquon Barkley.
That is for sure. Saquon Barkley had himself a game with 26 carries for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 of his best career games, both against the Rams this season. 4 touchdowns and a combined total of over, is it over 500 yards? 500 total yards. It's over 500 total yards. But either way, that's 2 incredible performances from Saquon Barkley. What did you think about it?
Dude, it was immaculate, dude. Watching him out there, just coming to the end zone I was so exhilarated to see it, especially the long run. He's amazing, dude. He's pretty much unstoppable, especially behind his O-line. I know Jalen didn't put up the stats he needed to, but he led the team in a way where we saw a bunch of film breakdown of him actually switching the side of the runs and calling audibles and reading the defense, which was absolutely electric in and of itself. Another guy on the other side of the ball, Jalen Carter, being absolutely electric, saving the game for us in multiple ways. He was just awesome. I couldn't ask for anything more other than to blow out this team, but the way it went was awesome, dude. I mean, it was a crazy game, and I'm just happy that we scraped away with a win. There's a couple things that we could fix, like kicking extra points, but other than that, it was a crazy game. It was a great game. It was everything you could ask for and more.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible game. It was playoff football for sure. Everybody wants it to be, a blowout in their team's favor and whatnot, but that's never going to be the case in the playoffs. Everybody's fighting for their season, and it's going to be a hard, tough-fought battle every single time. And I got to give credit to the Rams because I really thought that the weather was going to impact them more. I thought that our physicality was going to outmatch theirs, and I was wrong, honestly. I don't think that the weather affected them almost at all. And truthfully, I was incredibly impressed with how physical they played and how aggressive they played. And I said they weren't going to be able to put up the same kind of sacks that they did on us the way they did against who did they play last week?
Minnesota.
I saw them put up 9 sacks against Minnesota, and I was like, there's no chance they're doing it against our O-line. And they did. They put up – I apologize. I have to pull it up, but I believe it was 7 sacks?
Yep.
7 sacks against us. And we're probably the best O-line in the league. So it was an incredibly impressive performance on their part. But one thing that I don't think that is talked about enough with the Eagles this year is that they make good teams look average to below average. it's not that the Eagles are so stellar that they look incredible and they look unbeatable and they look like, these world beaters that just can't be touched. But they make good teams look bad. And that's what makes them so special. They're not going to wow you with the numbers. They're not going to wow you with the points. But their offense will produce plenty enough to back up what their defense is doing. And they just smother teams to death. And really, they play bully ball. It's honestly, people in Philadelphia are complaining about this team this year, despite the fact that we're, have 16 wins on the season and are in the conference championship. We're still hearing, people have problems with this team to this day, which is insanity in itself. But regardless, I don't think you could ask for a more Philadelphia-esque team than this team is right now. Playing hard-nosed football on defense, running the ball right down your throat on offense, and just out-physicaling people at anything that you want. And I don't think you could ask for a more Philadelphia kind of team. And I love that about this season. And people want to see the flashy numbers and the air yards and whatnot and the big plays. I get it, but I love watching hard-nosed football. And truthfully, I love games like last week where it comes down to the wire and it gets your heart pumping, and it's exciting to be a part of that. And granted, I don't necessarily enjoy heartache, but it was also kind of fun to be a part of that and to sit there till the end. It was really reminiscent of that Falcons game in the Super Bowl year that we won. And it was almost the exact same situation, honestly.
Yeah.
And both those games, as heart-wrenching as they were, made me feel confident that this team can overcome anything in both situations. And I still feel that way right now. And this team, we're going against a team that's playing real hot and just put up 41 points on the number 1 seed and 15-2 Lions at their home. And it was an impressive win watching the Commanders play that game. But I've been saying the same thing every week. I don't see them doing that to us the way they did it to them. And even if they do, we have a way of limiting it to an extent that it's manageable. And that is what makes this team special.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that game for the Commanders, Goff throwing, how many picks do they have? He threw 3 picks. Teddy Bridgewater threw 1, and they fumbled once. That was everything that could have went wrong for the Lions kind of went wrong. Their defense.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but how crazy is it that Teddy Bridgewater was coaching a high school football team like 2 weeks ago and just waltzed into an NFL playoff divisional game and hasn't played in who knows how long? I mean, that was insane. I saw him step onto the field. I was like, wait, Teddy Bridgewater.
With his long hair, too. Yeah, I didn't recognize him in the slightest. Like, who is that?
But continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. It's just I kind of feel bad for the lot. Not feel bad, but because they clearly deserve to lose that game. But it is
a shame because they had 14 guys out on defense. It's hard to overcome something like that. That is all of your starters plus some bench guys, or a few extra bench guys, and you have 1 or 2 starters left. I mean, that's insanity.
It's hard to win games when you turn the ball over 5 times. The other team doesn't at all. And
exactly.
We're going to get into us versus Commanders, and I don't think we're turning the ball over that much. We haven't been.
We've talked about this point where, in the regular season, it's more important to make a big play than it is to make a mistake. But when you get into the playoffs, that changes entirely, and it's much more important to not make a mistake than it is to make a big play. And that's why it is okay to see Jalen Hurts doing what he's been doing. And I thought he had a fairly impressive game, honestly. He went 15 for 20 with 130 yards. He ran for another 60-ish. Let me check the actual number on that. But regardless, I thought he had a pretty solid game. And everybody's been coming at him saying that he missed some open targets. Sure, I get that. But he did have 70 yards on the dot. But the man, he doesn't make mistakes. And I'd prefer to see him not make mistakes than miss something that he doesn't feel comfortable in. And I understand where that can come to hurt us, and I understand why it's a problem. I get all that. But we keep talking about at what point Hurts' inability to, get the ball out quick is going to hurt this team. And it hasn't hurt us in the past 16 wins, has it? So, when are we going to end this conversation? Admit that this is the identity of the Eagles offense this year and that they still continue to produce at an elite level.
Yeah, the only thing I'll go back to that is him taking 7 sacks. Some of them were on him, and then the safety was he. It's not. I don't even know how to. I don't.
The safety was a little tough. The safety was it was kind of bang bang where it happened really quick. The guy was in his face almost right away. But the fact that he did drop back so lackadaisically into the end zone was a problem, and the fact that there were 2 people open in close vicinity was also definitely an issue. I mean, he did have Devontae coming over the middle on a drag route, which is only about 5 yards in front of the line. And he had Saquon leaking out of the backfield completely uncovered on the left side. And to be fair on the Saquon one, he wasn't even facing that direction, and that guy was in his face right away. I don't know that he ever even saw Saquon. I don't think he got that far in his progression. But I do think that it was an issue that he missed Devontae and that he let it happen. I mean, I do wish that he had more of an eye for that kind of thing and just got rid of the ball more often. I think everybody does. But again, we tend to have control of the game even when these kinds of mistakes do happen. And when it happened, I know we were on the downside of they were kind of making a comeback, but we were still in control, and I wasn't particularly worried. And I was definitely worried going into the last drive when they were driving down the field, sure. And again, I think it's a big deal that Jake Elliott missed those extra points because, that would have been an 8-point game going down for that final drive where they would have had to score a touchdown and get the 2-point conversion just to tie it. So Jake Elliott missing those extra points did almost really hurt us for sure. And it's got to be addressed. And, I did hear an argument of whether or not it has to be considered that you just go for 2 instead of going for 1. But
dude, he's the best playoff field goal kicker of all time with 100%.
I know, exactly. And, it's weird he's such a weird case because despite missing 2 extra points, he went 3 for 3 on field goals. So
field goal in his playoff career. It's crazy.
Exactly. It's such a strange situation to be in with him. And I haven't lost faith in him entirely. I'm scared every time he steps onto the field. I will say that. But I still have faith in him making the kick when he needs to make it because he just kind of does. But it's teetering on getting scared.
Well, I mean, you just look at the opening drive and Jalen's getting that 40 and change run down the field on the left. And it's a great run, great start to the game, punch him in the face. And then you he missed an extra point. It's come on, this cap off the drive, let's start off straight well. And it's it doesn't take the air out of things, but it's
on both times. It was the first touchdown of the game and the last touchdown of the game.
Yeah. And
both times could have iced the game over if he or at least changed the way the momentum was going if he just made it. That first touchdown of the game, you score, you make the extra point, everything's good. Obviously, you're not thinking about it much with the first score of the game, but it matters. When you see them miss that first point of the game, you're like, all right, we can already go down the field and take a lead right off the bat. And then going into that last touchdown of the game where it felt like that touchdown should have completely iced the game over and just ended it. You missed that point. Now they've got a chance to go down the field and win the game, let alone tie it. And that kind of thing can't happen. It really can't. Because it would have been devastating if they went down the field and scored that touchdown and we lost by 1 point because Jake Elliott missed 2 extra points.
It would have been brutal.
It would have been really brutal.
I mean, at that point, after the 78-yard run by Saquon, there's 4 minutes, 30 seconds left, and we're up 28-15. That comeback would have been crazy, and it would have really stunk. I'm not saying that's on Jake Elliott there. The pursuing drive wasn't great. We gave him time, but it's all right because it all worked out, and it will continue to work out. And we just have to play. This isn't the best that we can play. Saquon is just playing
otherworldly, man.
Unworldly. He's
that 78-yard run had me ready to run through a freaking wall, man. When he started smacking his helmet, oh man, that got me pumped up. That got me ready to Oh, that's football at its finest, man. I was so excited when he did that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't talk enough about the guy. I mean, it's insane what he's been doing this year. It's debatably the best season a running back ever had, ever.
Yeah.
It's like it's getting to that point. He's still got 1 to 2 more games to keep adding to that total, and everyone knows he could have broken the record if he wanted to in that last game of the season. And even without that game, he still might break the all-time production record, including postseason. And it's insane what he's been doing. It couldn't be better that he ended up on our team this year. And if we go on to win this Super Bowl, obviously how big of a part Saquon was in getting to this Super Bowl, he immediately will go down as one of the best Philly athletes to ever land in Philadelphia in 1 year. And it's insane to think such a thing.
I mean, he's the best running back I ever watched my own eyes.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's not a knock on Shady McCoy, because that dude was a freaking beast.
I love Shady. I love Shady.
Saquon is he's the difference between him and Shady McCoy is that they have close to the same level of elusiveness, but Saquon's got that whole package of power, speed, quickness, elusiveness. He's just
got onto the football with 2 hands. Never mind.
Yeah, that definitely helps.
But
it's awesome that we can say that he's a Philadelphia Eagle, and
it's amazing.
Like we said, it's a huge part of it's the biggest part of why we're here.
Yeah, dude. And there's only 2 games left in the season for everyone right now. Like 3 games total, I guess. But it's crazy that we're here and we're playing the Commanders. I didn't expect to play the Commanders. I thought the Bucs were going to beat them. I mean, they're like, let's just hop right into this game. How the Commanders got here, winning, Jayden Daniels going down and getting game-winning field goal against the Bucs, and then they basically crap on the Lions. And they're coming in to Philly now. And how much do you take this momentum? And people have been talking about all week in a football game. How much do you count for it? How much do you think that will actually help the Commanders and sway in the Commanders' favor?
I think it depends on. I think it kind of depends on the way the game starts. To be completely honest with you, like if we were to, come out and let's just say a hypothetical here, right? If we were to come out and start the game with the ball, and we go down and we get down to like our 40-yard line, and then we fizzle out, and we either have to punt or kick a field goal or something, and then they get the ball and they go down and score. That's where that momentum's going to kick in, and you'll never get it back. And this team is riding on such a high of the fact that this team hasn't been in a conference championship situation in however many years, I think upwards of 40. And they have the whole city behind them. They are rallied around each other. They play as like a complete unit. From what I've heard of this team, they've got that tight-knit chemistry in a similar way that like the 2017 Eagles did. And that's scary. It's, when a team fully buys in and really appreciates everything that each moving part is doing, it means a lot. And they're really rallying behind this quarterback in Jayden Daniels. And it doesn't really matter how young he is. The dude's elite right now. The way he's playing right now, whether he continues this for the rest of his career or not, the way he's playing right now is elite. And the way he's playing right now has him as a top 5 quarterback in the league this year. Plain and simple. And the dude's been a beast. I mean, he put up 41 points in the Lions last week in their house. That's insanity. Nobody expected that. I kind of expected a close game. I didn't expect that. I mean, they're playing out of their minds. And you want to hope that if you can slow down that momentum, they're gonna hit a brick wall finally, and that'll all end. Because clearly the Eagles are the better team going into this. If you go position by position, it's not even close. The only position that they have over us would be quarterback, and I don't think it's that drastic of a difference. But
I mean, throughout the year, he played very well. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't I mean, yeah, he played a great year. He's obviously going to win offensive player of the, or he's going to win offensive rookie of the year for sure. He's been the best quarterback in these playoffs, and he could account with the AFC too, which is crazy. It's good for him. Good for him for doing that. Nonetheless, I'm not super scared of him. I don't know why. Not because of Jayden Daniels in general, because of our defense. I really do trust this defense so much, and I know we're hurting a little bit with Quinion, and we're going to talk about Cam on the other side of the ball, but I really do trust this defense, and the fact that they came up in that clutch situation against the Rams last weekend with Jalen finally getting to the quarterback and Slay playing well coverage on Puka, I was just so happy to see that because I needed to see that I can trust this defense. And this defense has our backs. And Noah Smith played out of his mind. Like, the guys are just stepping up. And it's like Oren Burks has been good. Like, I don't like – I didn't expect him to come in and be like, all right. Like, I thought he was going to be a liability. He's been playing solid. Like,
he has. And, he's definitely not a liability. You're still missing in what you had in Nakobe Dean, but Oren Burks has done a great job with what he's been given. 1 million.
He has. But regardless of that, is it crazy to say I'm less scared of this team than I am the Rams?
It is a little crazy. I can't lie.
I mean, they have the 30th rush defense in the league. Like, has Lattimore been playing well? No. Like, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of their defense in the slightest. Their offense is, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just. I think I'm just a hater at this point. I don't think Jayden Daniels is a top 5 quarterback.
I want to say something, but I'm going to regret it immediately, and I want to take it back. I almost don't even want to utter the words because it's bad juju.
You gotta say it now.
But it's I don't think the situations are the same because this is a championship game. It's a little bit everything's a little bit different, and our level of talent over theirs is much more drastic than the example I'm going to give. But it feels eerily similar to the kind of situation we were in with the Phillies and the Mets, where the Phillies, I get it, Phillies played a bad end of the season. The Eagles did not. This is why it's different. But it was a similar thing where the Phillies were clearly the better team, and the Mets were the hot team. And sometimes that heat can push you over the talent level. And to be fair, they had 3 games to do it. It's a little different. Everything's different with baseball, and baseball is a much longer season. It's just the kind of situation where I'm just trying to make the point that the hotness does matter that much. Like, it does shorten the gap. You know what I mean? Like, they're playing at a level that nobody else in the league is playing at right now, but they don't belong there either. You get what I'm saying? Like,
I understand. I just think it's hard to compare football to either basketball and baseball.
It is. That's why I didn't want to even utter the words.
Yeah,
but it was on my head. It felt like the best thing I can compare it to. But
okay. I'll take that, and then I'll raise you the Minnesota Miracle happening for the Vikings. And then,
agreed.
And then I'll play on the week after.
Agreed. It could be the same thing. You could. In fact, this could play out the exact same way that it did in 2017. It very well could.
It reminds me of that a lot, just because this is a subpart. It's a subpart every level other than every level other than Jayden Daniels. I mean, their weapons. Terry's a great. He's a solid. He's a really good receiver. I wouldn't even call him elite because he's elite, but he's not the best receiver in the league argument.
No, he's top 10, but he's top 10 is elite, but it's not, he's not the best of the
Brian Robinson, a top 10 running back.
Who?
Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson, is he a top 10 running back? That's a tougher one. I'd have to look at I have to look at a list of running backs to decipher that, but he's close. He's at least top 12, I'd say. Which is that could put him near the middle of the pack, So I'd have to actually look at it, but They do have I don't think that they're elite at any spot outside of quarterback. And not to mention, I think it's a big thing. Their O-line is kind of subpar, and their best O-lineman is out with an injury this week.
Yeah.
That's going to matter a lot as well. And that position is the one that's supposed to be blocking none other than Jalen Carter. So that's going to be a huge thing too. That matters a ton. And keeping Jayden Daniels in the pocket matters a ton as well. And I feel like it's been overlooked this week. When you go back to the other, games that we played the Commanders, in that last game we played the Commanders, Jayden Daniels had 5 turnovers. The team had 5 turnovers, but Jayden Daniels, I think, threw 3 of them at least.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about turnovers. The last time we played the Commanders. Time we played
them. Yeah, he had 2 picks.
Gosh. Was it only 2? I thought it was 3. I'm checking right now. Give me a second.
Commanders lost.
Fact checking myself. It was 2. But we turned the ball over on them 5 times. And it was impressive that they were still able to pull that game out. But they can't expect
to lose the ball twice too. And
they can't expect to win that way if they do that again.
Well, I'm not expecting us to win if we lose Slay, lose CJ, and lose Jalen Hurts as our quarterback either. But I know a lot of people are like, well, he didn't play that bad. Well, he didn't play that great either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kenny did not play. I wouldn't give him No,
I'm looking at the stats right now. I mean, he threw at a 50% rate for 143 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. I mean, that's subpar. It's okay. It's just okay. He didn't do bad. He didn't do good. It's just okay.
I want to take that. If Jalen did that, he would be castrated. Literally kicked off the team. Because Jalen is the worst quarterback ever, even though he had better stats than Josh Allen last week. But Josh Allen's a savior and a god, and Jalen's a piece of crap. Okay, Matt? So you got to get that through your head that nobody will ever give Jalen any credit for anything because he can't do anything to do anything good because he needs to have 250 yards and 8 touchdowns in order to say he's okay. It's ridiculous. And Jayden Daniels had been playing better than him in this playoff run and everything, but I'd still rather have Jalen as my starting quarterback. I know that's hard to say at this point, even the way Jayden did, but just his experience and just his mentality and just how he runs this team. I still rather have him other than Jayden Daniels. And it's kind of hard to say right now if you just want to look at straight stats.
Yeah, I mean, it is tough. But at the same time, we're in a situation where I wouldn't want to change anything for anything. I just wouldn't. And yes, I understand there are some better quarterbacks out there than Jalen Hurts, but there's not many. And I want to make that clear because everybody that's calling for Jalen Hurts' head and wants to switch quarterbacks, go find me somebody better that you can just go out and get. Go ahead and do it for me. Let's just see what happens.
Teams would kill for Jalen Hurts. Kill to have a guy like Jalen Hurts. Go ask the Jaguars what they think. Go ask the Giants what they think. Go ask the Browns. Tampa was
Titans.
Tampa crying because Baker Mayfield played well this year because they finally found something. They were like, oh, Tom Brady, thanks for winning Super Bowls. All right, we need something.
It's definitely I wouldn't call it unwarranted, but it's definitely unfair, the treatment that Jalen Hurts gets.
It's ridiculous because he gets slandered and slandered and slandered, and it's because everyone wants to do, just because he wins, do you want to blame the loss on him? Yes, I want to blame the loss on him too. Look at his record and just look how well he manages his team. I mean, Saquon is doing his thing. All right, he has 324 yards rushing in 2 games. He's going to get the ball 26 times. And the slander of Jalen is, I know what he does wrong. Okay. I know he sits in the pocket a little bit too long sometimes. I know he doesn't see the first read. And he's playing 1 hurt, 2 with half a concussion. He was on a perk after the game because
that was so funny. I was cracking up. I was cracking up, dude. That was so funny. I've never, in all my years watching Jalen Hurts, I've never seen him show so much emotion, and it was freaking hilarious.
He
sounded like you're like the uncle at your party that
you're like Uncle Jerry. You gotta cut off the
had a few too many beers, but is going back to his heyday. Like that was Jalen Hurts after the game.
All right, you can't tell the grandkids about what you did when you were 20 years old, dude. Okay. I don't know. I just feel like this. Maybe it's just all the media just hates Philadelphia because you see.
Well, they definitely do. I mean,
the NFL Network post, dude. We moved up in the rankings to the 4th team left. Are you fucking? I mean, sorry. Are you kidding me? I just don't get it. I will never understand that this is the most talented roster. If you look at every roster, how is this not the most talented roster?
It is. Hands down. Out of the teams left, it's not even close that we're the most talented roster.
I mean,
it's not even remotely close because the Chiefs have the least amount of talent they've had since they went on their dynasty run. The Bills weren't expected to get this far because they didn't have the weapons around them on offense or defense. And the Commanders never had it, and they're the shock of the century even being here. So, heck yes, we are by far the most talented team left, which is why we're the favorites to win still. I don't really care what the NFL Network has to say about it. I mean, we do have the best chance to win the Super Bowl right now. But we do have an issue with kind of shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit. So hopefully we don't do that.
And there's 2 other issues I wanted to discuss before we give our game predictions and game things. Today was announced that Cam Jurgens did not practice and Landon Dickerson was taking snaps at center. How much does that concern you? And do you have any itch that he's going to play or anything like that?
I mean, there's definitely some concern if they were concerned enough. So that's the part I didn't know. I didn't know they put Landon at center. So that does add to it a little bit. I mean, that at least tells you that they are in some way preparing for if he wasn't able to go. But I'd still be shocked if he doesn't go. It's you got to think about this. Like, unless he is, so injured that it is deterring his movement and he can't move. There's only 2 games left in this season.
Yeah.
Any player on either roster and on any of the rosters left are going to play through pain.
Yeah.
Pain and injury are very different. And if he's hurt, they're going to give him some time off to try to be as comfortable as possible going into that game. And if it's not something, like I said, deterring his movement, he will play.
Yeah.
Especially as an O-lineman. O-linemen are tough. That's just the way they're bred, the way they're built. And I do expect him to play, especially considering I didn't see him with any particular injury during the game or after.
Yeah, no,
I don't doubt that he's hurt, but I'd be surprised if he doesn't play.
Yeah, I think like Reese, I heard him today say, he goes, like, he finished the game healthy, quote unquote, aka he didn't go out of the game. So why, if he can move, he'll be okay. The next one I wanted to ask about, another guy that didn't practice today, was Quinyon Mitchell. He said he's going to play. But how much does that concern you? It's his shoulder, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
How much does that concern you that he's still not practicing? / do you think it's like a similar thing, like they're trying to just rest as much?
Similar thing. I mean, they already came out and said that. I'm pretty sure the team already came out and said that he's going to play, as well as himself coming out and saying he was going to play.
Yeah.
So it doesn't concern me that he's not going to play, and especially for a cornerback, he's covering 90% of the time. So outside of actually making the tackle, that shoulder shouldn't really bother him that much. It'll have its moments, of course. Don't get me wrong. No matter what, it's gonna hurt. But I don't see it as being so deterrent that it's going to be an issue in his play, unless he were to maybe baby a tackle because he's worried about hurting it,
and then run the ball outside and toss it to his side and get a 1-on-1 with Brian Robinson and hurt him. Never mind.
It's possible they might try to exploit that. You're not wrong, but I
mean, I'm just saying what would make sense.
I get it, but again, with the pain thing, if it's enough that you can play through it, they're gonna medicate you before the game so it hurts less. And once you're in there playing, people don't always understand how much adrenaline makes that big of a difference. He probably, as soon as he starts playing and gets into the swing of things, he probably won't even feel it.
Yeah.
And it'll be the same way for the other guys between him and Juergens and Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts is the one that concerns me the most, only because with the kind of injury that he had, and as I've been hearing it this week, most people think that it's a bone contusion, or which is just a bone bruise, or the meniscus, got strained a little bit. And the thing with the meniscus, if it's the meniscus, the part that's worrisome is that has to do with planting and going east-west. And that could be, concerning if Jalen isn't able to do those things. But if it's just pain, no matter what, he's going to play through it. And I'm confident that they're going to give him, maybe they'll throw him another perk and he won't notice a thing. Because to me, some people might say that he looked bad at the end of the game. I thought he looked the same as he did the entire time. I didn't think there was that big. I didn't notice a drop off in his play after he got hurt. So maybe that's just me. Maybe I wasn't looking at the right things. I don't really know.
I guess I didn't see him run as much, but I don't think he did.
Well, of course not. But we were also in a position where we were trying to run the clock out.
I was about to say there wasn't really a reason for him to be running. So.
Exactly. And, I did see that the Commanders head coach, defensive coordinator, said that he's going to try to, come at Jalen hard with pressure and physicality. And he knows that Jalen's hurt, and he's kind of in a way almost saying, yeah, we wouldn't mind if we hurt him again. But alas, I'm just these are things that I'm not too worried about. I do think that if we lose Jalen Hurts' running aspect, it does hurt us the most out of those things. But I'm not terribly worried about any of those things either.
All right, Matthew. NFC Championship on the line. How do you see this game going, and what's your final score?
Well, I'm not going to be as ridiculous as last week because that was just, I don't know what I was on, but that was an insane take by me to think that they were going to score 41 points. I don't know where I was going with that. But this week, I'm going to be a little more reasonable. And I'm going to say the game's going to be 27-21 Eagles. I think that I can see them being in a position where they have to get a stop at the end of the game to end the game. Because I do think that the heat of that team is going to matter. I do think that they have a way of sticking in close games no matter what and being in the game. But I don't think that they're going to be ready for the moment. I think that seeing Philadelphia in a championship game is going to be a different environment than Jayden Daniels has ever been a part of. And I think that, again, we're just more talented. So I'm going to stick with that, 27-21.
27-21. Well, I said a 14-point game for the LA Rams, and I was wrong about that. So I'm going to go – it's just going to be a 17-point game for this one. You know how stupid that sounds? The Commanders been close to everyone all year. That we had a close game in our first matchup, which is the only one I really count. Just the start of the second matchup, it kind of – it made me – think that we can dominate this team and dominate this defense, and I think Saquon can run all over them.
I agree with that,
especially if no restrictions. I'm going. What if we miss a field goal? We're gonna miss an extra point. So 37 to 21 is my prediction.
I like yours better. I hope you're right.
I mean, I really think that we could run away with this game if we are able to. If we're able to force turnovers, this game's not. If we win a turnover battle in this game, we like we did in week 15, 16, whatever it is. I'm sure, I'm positive that we can step on their throats with Jalen. I know that we can, and I don't. There's so much hype around this Commanders team right now, but they are just not as elite as I don't think they're as elite. I think Jayden Daniels is. I just don't think the rest of the team is at a level of NFC Championship caliber. And I'll probably be eating my words saying that, but I'm not really scared of this team. And this is the most confident I've been on playoffs, it's just probably why I should be the least confident. I don't know. I'm going back and forth in my head, but I'm the most confident. I feel the best about this game than the first two.
I love to hear the confidence. Truly,
I don't know why.
I don't think that you're wrong in feeling confident either. I can't say that I'm on the exact same confidence level, but I'm very close, and I completely see why you're confident too. Like, don't get me wrong. I have a little bit more worry just over their momentum. Other than that, I think we blow them out of the water in every category.
If our offense can get going, Matt, like the first game, like Eckler was their leading receiver. Like
I know. We were shutting them down for 7 quarters this year. We shut them down for 7 quarters.
And I think the key to the game for Fangio is let's not blitz. The Lions set the most blitz of anyone, and Jayden is very good at picking up
90% of his passes against the blitz last week.
He picks up on every. I mean, just look what we did. Like Quinyon Mitchell got his first touchdown over. Terry got it over him. What was the other touchdown? De'Ami Brown, was it on Slay? Regardless, they're able to turn you around, but you just keep him contained. But I trust this D line based on last week too, and Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter are playing absolutely amazing. I would love for Sweat to get a sack in there, but those two and just in general, especially Jalen, it's just so fun to watch. I stared at him all game. I could see just his back and how he was lining up. I mean, he gets doubled and then he gets hit on the side as he gets doubled. He gets chipped and he's getting doubled.
You have to, man. I think it's fair to say that he's a top 3 D tackle in the league. And it's maybe number one.
Hey, Aaron Donald's not here anymore. Christian.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the All Pros, he was second team All Pro behind just Cam Hayward, right? And Cam Hayward didn't really deserve it over him.
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable. It wouldn't be unreasonable to say that he's the best D tackle in the league.
How good is Chris Jones doing this year? I feel like he's always doing good.
He's always up there, but I don't think he's having a crazy year.
Well, probably not.
At least not statistically.
No.
He's probably having like a late career Fletcher Cox kind of season.
Yeah. Exactly what he's doing. He has freaking 5 sacks all year. Anyway.
But it'll be interesting. It'll be real interesting.
No, I'm really excited.
I'm so excited, man. I mean, championship football, getting a championship game in Philadelphia, couldn't ask for better, dude. Couldn't ask for better.
So since we are fans and we can look ahead, who do you want to / who do you think is going to win the AFC Championship between the Bills and the Chiefs in Arrowhead?
God, I hate to say it, but I'd rather play the Chiefs.
I'd rather play the Chiefs too, dude. I want my revenge.
I do too. I think that we're a better team than them, and I want to prove it this year. And I think the Bills have a spectacular play kind of feel to them, where they they're the kind of team where 1 or 2 big plays could change the entire game, and that's a little bit scary of a thing to deal with. And they just have that big play explosiveness that kind of scares me a little bit. I do think that we're a much better team than the Bills. So I'm not crazy scared of either of them. I'm not confident against either of them, but I'm not scared of either of them either, if that makes sense. I'm kind of just in the middle ground on both. I don't think that one is really particularly above the other. I think they're a pretty even match, and I think that, like you said, I think I'd rather just get our revenge on the Chiefs.
I need revenge on the Chiefs. The craziest storyline is that the Bills basically handed Kansas City their only loss of the year. I know Week 18, Carson Wentz playing, and all the backs are playing, so I don't count the Broncos. You can if you want to. I wouldn't. So the Bills did beat them in Buffalo, 30-21 earlier this year. Josh Allen's having a great season, and it's just so Buffalo to choke here, dude. I mean, we've seen the great games where they literally changed the overtime playoff rules for this matchup, which is also insane.
It's going to be a fun one for sure.
It's going to definitely be a fun one. I hope it's a fun one. But I want to see Patty. I need to see Patty, just like how we got revenge on Brady years and years later. But regardless of that, I would love to have some revenge on the Chiefs.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%.
And going from there later,
before we go, just to go over what we talked about last week with our score predictions, I think you were right in the Chiefs-Texans game, and I was right on the
other
the
team.
Bills and the Commanders. So you were right, Chiefs, Eagles. I was right, Commanders, Bills, and Eagles. So I am one game over
Well,
you.
actually, we were both wrong on the Eagles, but it's okay.
Oh, you know what? You're right. Didn't we have them both
picked,
covering?
yeah, we both thought they would cover. I think you thought they would cover, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I had them winning 40. I had them getting 41 points.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I was right on 2. You were right on 1.
And
So you still have a chance to overtake me if you get the championship games and the Super Bowl right, and I don't. But
well, if we're both picking the Chiefs and we're both taking the Eagles.
yep. So not an easy way to get around it here, but
I guess I'll take the Chiefs in the Super Bowl over us. Oh God, that was funny. It's okay. At least I'm not putting my head shaved on the line this year. But
boy,
I just
you're learning.
1 week at a time, and hopefully we're gonna be back here. We already have our spot for the Super Bowl, which we already had all the championship the playoff rounds to talk about. But
We were prepared. We were prepared all season for a Super Bowl run, but here we are. We've made it this far. We have one more game to go before we make the big trip down to New Orleans. Hopefully, we can take that trip. We're all going to be rooting for this to happen this week. We're going to be, excited, thrilled, terrified, all the above. It's going to be quite the weekend, and hopefully, we can come back to you guys next week talking about the Super Bowl. It would be incredible.
I'll just say one thing: if the Eagles were to comment on this YouTube thing, I will go to the game. I've been to the last 2 games. I don't really want to spend the money on it, but for some reason, if the Eagles comment said go to the game because you have to, because I went to both the divisional and the conference or the wild card and conference or divisional round, I will go to the game. But please, I don't really want them to comment. But if you
heard
want,
the man, get on him. Make sure he's at that game.
that would be crazy. You guys don't have to pay bills like everyone else does. I guess not. I don't. I'm just gonna leave them all aside. Who cares about bankruptcy when you have the Eagles?
Hey, it's an Eagles Super Bowl kind of run. We throw money out of the equation at least for the next couple.
It doesn't matter. No, but
with all that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you guys always. If you did enjoy this video, please like the video underneath. And if you do enjoy keeping up with us, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We'll be back every week talking about the Eagles. And unfortunately, only a couple weeks left for us to talk to you guys. So make sure you're tuning in, sticking with us. And, we're going to be real excited to come back to you guys next week, hopefully after a big win.
Let's go Birds, baby.
You heard the man. Go Birds, and we will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
Birds.